Hudetz. He hails from Chicago, Illinois, and he is thrilled to be back on board the MV Explorer after sailing just 5 years ago as the IT director. So most of his 20s have been spent exploring the world through many different jobs, volunteer opportunities, and independent excursions. So his adventures have included backpacking in Paraguay, farming in New Zealand and Italy, building houses in Mexico, leading a service trip to the Apache Indian Reservation in Arizona, and being accused of being a spy in Switzerland. So, Mr. Casey Hudetz.
Thank you. Welcome everyone. Thank you for coming out. All right, so in preparation for this presentation, I thought of a lot of different titles and how could I properly name this so that it really captured what I was getting at. So I had a few contenders. So out of the office into the world, that was one that I considered, but I didn't think it really got into what I was trying to do. So then I thought, what about getting other people to bankroll your wanderlust? That feels ungrateful, and that's not true. That's not how I operate. And this one, when I was today really working on it, this one struck me. How to stall at the beginning of World Cafe because you're not sure if you have enough material to fill the entire hour. Sorry, I lied. That wouldn't fit the dean's memo, though. I checked it. Wouldn't. So I decided to go with working around the world. All right, so who I am on the ship. I am the communications coordinator, and I work with the lovely Krista Rosso and Nick and my 5 wonderful work studies who I think are here. If not, I'm going to talk to them tomorrow about it. The team is great. We've had a lot of fun so far. So I sailed as Mr. Matt Parisi said. I was the IT director in 2009, and I was a bit. I think I got into it not knowing what I was getting into. I was a little underqualified, I think, in some ways. So if you were to look at my Google searches from that summer, it would say just really embarrassing things that this one I still Google, and I really it's helped out his voice. So I am the proud father of 5 wonderful students, just incredible. And one, you know. Kevin, I'm joking. I love you. So it's a nice plan. I want to talk about the last 10 years of my life and the things that I've done so that maybe it'll inspire you, or you will have heard us. You wouldn't have heard of something and you'll maybe want to do it. Other jobs out there are the ones that I've looked into but I haven't chosen to do, so maybe that's something you could investigate. I worked for a company the last 2 years called The Road Less Traveled, and I'll focus in on that so you get a sense of how a company like that would work. And then I'll finish with questions. Tonight I'm going to throw a lot of names of companies and things at you. You don't have to take notes. I'll put a PDF in the share drive with links if you guys can follow up later. So, all right. So the last 10 years of my life, all in 40 minutes. So before I got into my 20s, I was thinking about traveling, and I said to my aunt and uncle, "I'm thinking about traveling," and they said, "All right, well you should do it. Do it while you're young." And they said, do it while you're young and you don't have a mortgage, you don't have kids, you don't have a car, and you don't have any control over your life. And I learned 2 things. 1, I should do it, I should try it. And 2, my aunt and uncle are total bummers. They're such downers about it. So I started with, this is how I got into it. My stepdad, right here, who's taming a lizard, it looks like, is a pilot. And that meant I could fly standby up until I graduated from college. So I worked a few jobs during college. And then over the summers, I went through to Europe on a shoestring and kind of did the huge 16-bed hostel thing. And then the next summer, I went to Australia and New Zealand. And when I was in New Zealand, I worked with a company, the Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farmers. And so while I was in New Zealand, I stayed for 2 weeks on a farm there. I did hydroponic tomato farming. It was really fun. There's the goon, myself, right there, moving a few tomato plants. After that, I went back to the school I was at. I went to DePaul University, and I started. There's one supporter. I got involved with the university ministry so that I could then do alternative spring breaks. Have any of you done something like that? Alternative spring breaks. Yeah. So it was a way that I could travel, and I really got into the service side of things. I really liked it. I got to lead one, and it was a lot of fun. So I thought, if I like this and going through service is a way that I can do it, I looked into the Peace Corps, and I applied and I got in, and I was sent to Paraguay, which I had to look up on a map when they told me where it was. It's in South America. And then I was told I was going to be an apiculturalist, which I had to look up as well, which is a beekeeper. I was assigned to be a beekeeper in Paraguay. So I went to Paraguay. I went through training. I learned Spanish, okay enough, and then I learned Guarani, which is their indigenous language. I'm going to teach you one word in Guarani. All right, everybody ready? Yeah. Say this. Okay, that means water in Paraguay, so in Guarani. So I always imagine it's like the throat is dry, so we need water. So I go there, I go through training, everything's great. I get placed out near Argentina, right on the border of Paraguay, and I get ill, horribly ill, and I have to come home, and I can't finish. So it's a total bummer. I'm fine now, obviously I'm here, and it led to me being here, so everything worked out. But I didn't have a plan B. So I came home, and I scrambled a bit. Oh, there I am as a beekeeper. Capturing wild hives, very exciting. So then we come back, and I scramble for a bit, and I find a job at the Francis W. Parker School in Chicago. Is anyone here from Chicago? Yeah. So this is in Lee Park. I worked there for a few years. But the benefit of working at the school, teaching middle school computers, is that I have the summer off. So I looked into this program. It's called Putney Student Travel. It is based in Vermont, and they do teen summer travel where you can, kids will come on rather than going to camp, they'll go to these programs, and they'll do community service around the world. So I was in charge of about 18 high school kids. We went to Costa Rica. We painted schools. We spilled a lot of paint. We did whitewater rafting and adventure sports. And I found out that someone on the ship knows this girl. Are you here? Your name's Molly. No. All right, so I did Putney Student Travel. I go back. And then I go and I work at Parker again, and I look, all right, how can I get another job? I put out a lot of applications, and I hear in January 2009, I get like a 2-sentence email, and it says, Casey, are you still interested in sailing? And then it was from Mike Zoll, who I didn't know at the time, and I'd forgotten I'd even applied. So I got this interview. I'm sorry, this is Youth with a Mission. This is another like Habitat for Humanity thing I did with the school. So I got the job with semester at sea. I came on board. And it was a really amazing summer. And that one we went through the Mediterranean. So we started in Spain, I went to Sevilla and Granada, and then we went to Italy, and I was in Rome and Naples, and that's where I did a bit of farming. And then I was in Croatia, which was amazing. And we went to Greece and went out to the islands of Ios. Wasn't a lot to do in Bulgaria, but it's still really fun. Istanbul, maybe the coolest place I've ever been. Got to touch the top of it. And then finally I went to Morocco, where we'll be going. So it was a really crazy summer. If you think of our February where it was like non-stop, it was like that for a whole summer. So it was great, it was really fun. So then I go back to the school and I think, all right, what else can I do? So there's something, the STA Travel, have you heard of them?
Oh, yeah.
STA Travel. So they had this internship, this thing over the summer that if you applied with the video, it was a video contest, and they choose you, they'll send you to another part of the world. So I submitted a video, and I was one of 2 out of 4,500 that got chosen, which is exciting. So I got to go to Australia and South America, and it was pretty incredible. So then I go back to the school, and I think, why am I spending so much of my time just looking for opportunities when I should maybe do this whole time work in this industry? So I started working for this company called The Road Less Traveled, and I was with them for 2 years. And I'll talk about them more in depth as we go on. And then obviously, here I am, wonderfully back on the MV Explorer. So one of the things I looked into pretty seriously in my 20s, and maybe you'd want to consider, is teaching English as a foreign language. Have any of you heard of this? All right, a handful of you. So it's a way that you take your valuable English and you go to other countries, like the ones we've gone to, where they want to learn English so they can enter into the markets and they can travel and they can get into business. Really popular and legitimate one is the JET program in Japan. You fly over, it's a year long, they train you, they pay you, they house you, I think, then they take you back. I've had a few friends that did it and they loved it. EPIC is similar in Korea, or you can just wing it. You can get these certifications online. It takes like a couple months, you just do these modules. I had a friend that did that and then flew to Costa Rica and opened a newspaper, found a job, and stayed for 2 years. So there's ways to do that as well. AmeriCorps, it's a domestic Peace Corps. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's a great way to do service and things in the US. The one that I really looked into is called the NCCC, which you do three different programs over your year commitment. So you'll be doing disaster relief, and then you are tutoring kids, and then you are fixing, restoring like paths in national parks. So there's a lot of opportunities there as well. All right, so teen summer programs. This is kind of what I've been involved in the last couple of years primarily. And there are so many of them. We've got Putney and Where There Be Dragons and Rustic Pathways and Moondance and Ark and Bold Earth and Wilderness Ventures and Sailor Caribbean and Global Leadership and West Coast Connections and Global Roots, and just get tired looking at all of them. Have any of you gone on anything like this or any of these programs in general? Got a few, kind of? Okay. But the one that I worked for, very dramatic, The Road Less Traveled. So I'm going to show this short video about The Road Less Traveled, and hopefully gives you a sense of the kind of things I do. So I don't know if you need the light turned down here. Oh no. Audio, sorry guys. Anton! You guys want to just huddle around my computer? So this duck walks in. But seriously, a bear walks in the bar and it says, "I'll take a beer and a bowl of peanuts." And the bartender says, "Hey, what's with the big paws?" That's gonna start, right? All right, here we go. We're back. No more bear jokes. Nope. No. All right. All the suspense.
I loved the trip. It was extraordinary. I learned a lot of things. I learned how to be a great leader.
I've grown both mentally and physically, both as a person and with skills. I know more about myself.
We did so many things. We met so many people, so many great people who were so open to us and so open to our help.
It was super impactful and fun, and I loved every single bit of it.
Through 5 or 6 years of camp, I gained 5 best friends. And I thought through this trip, I gained 7 great friends that I'll have for the rest of my life. And I thought that was a special part of the trip this year.
It was amazing to see how different people can be, yet how similar we are. Even though we speak different languages and we live in such different places and we have such different customs, we can still connect on so many levels.
All right, so that is the company I work for, The Road Less Traveled. I, at the end of the summer, would get all those photos and videos, and I have to try to find the right ones to piece together. So that's a lot of different trips. It's not the same trip, because that'd be very ambitious. So, Road Less Traveled, it is a company that, as you saw, they do all sorts of different service work. They go to Namibia to do safari, they do turtle restoration in Costa Rica, they do rafting, and I know some of you laughed at Wyoming, but they do rafting in Wyoming and Colorado and all over the world. They backpack across Norway, they do a lot of stuff. So, the story of the Road Less Traveled. It was founded in 1991 by Jim and Donna Stein, who are still the directors. I don't know if you guys can see that. They evolved from just being wilderness trips into community service, international trips, as that was required. They have about 350 to 400 participants every year, and about 45 to 50 leaders. So, you know, I wish, I mean, I could talk about it from my perspective, but I wish there was some sort of student perspective that could help me with this story. Kobe, what shirt are you wearing? Is that Kobe Baker? That looks like a beautiful roadless travel t-shirt. What are the chances? Everyone come on up. Thank you. Everyone give Kobe a round of applause. I actually was going to post these photographs, and they're all of you as well. That's crazy. I don't know. So Kobe, tell us about your experience with the Road Less Traveled. When, where, what did you do?
Okay. I did Road Less Traveled in the summer of 2011, so that was after my junior year of high school. And what they did, Road Less Traveled really advertised themselves as this company that like you do all these cool stuff over in different countries. So I'm like, oh cool, I'll get to go whitewater rafting and go to the beach in Costa Rica. But what it really was like so much more than that. We spent about 10 days in this rural Costa Rican village, and we helped to kind of restore a school. We laid cement, we painted, and during kind of like our off time, we would interact with all the locals in the town. We'd play soccer with the kids. There were times when like the local women would invite us into their houses, and we would cook tamales with them. And it really kind of opened my eyes to a different perspective on the world, and really like made me want to see more of it. I feel like it's a lot like what Semester at Sea is doing for a lot of us. It's making us want to travel more, to make us want to see more, and that was what really sparked my interest in travel, was this program.
Great.
Anything else?
Yeah, who were your leaders on the trip?
I had 3 leaders on the trip. Their names were Jake Runestad, Lindsay Dana, and Alex Whittington. They all were fluent in Spanish. They were just very like experienced travelers who were laid back, willing, like able to handle the, constant changing of travel. And actually, one of them went on to work for Semester at Sea, and she was on the boat in Ensenada, so that was cool to be able to see her. That's pretty much it.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. Kobe Baker. All right, so my role at the office is a small office, so any of you that have worked in a small office, you know that you kind of do everything in a small office. So started off as a logistics director, and then you're the hiring manager and the associate director and the director of sales and chief marketing strategist, and worst in the office is sending FedEx packages consultant. That didn't fit on the card, so I couldn't have it. And I was the SEO manager. Does anyone know what SEO stands for?